It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy David in the 702 coming at you for that Monday night recap of the sweet science known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly, Irish, wearing all green, Drew. Que pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
What's good, Drew? It's Monday night. I didn't really sleep, dog. I've had the worst sleep because, like a crackhead, I stayed up all night, man, to watch that. And you know, I'm on the West Coast, Drew, so I stayed up to watch the monster in Japan, Inoue. I'm talking about Inoue, of course. Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery out of Tijuana. Two Tijuana fighters on the spotlight, in the spotlight this weekend, and unfortunately both of them came up short, but both of them put out fantastic fights in my opinion. This was Canelo Alvarez fight week in Las Vegas. So much to talk about just here in Las Vegas. And today, guys, I have in honor of Las Vegas, in honor of the Golden Knights, Cinco de Mayo, the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas. Drew, check this out. Check this baby out right here. Viva Hop Vegas hazy IPA. This one is 7 point. What did I say? 7.7%, Drew. And I, in honor of Las Vegas and everybody that was here for Cinco de Mayo weekend, I am gonna down this IPA today. I am off the tequila train for now. Did we have enough tequila? Shout out to Walk with Rhonda, Chicano Prophet, Veronica. Thank you so much for joining us. I got some stories to tell Drew as soon as Drew comes back in here, or if not, let me crack open this cerveza here. Shout out to all the Golden Knights fans. The Golden Knights are killing it. All right, guys, I had a chance to go to the Box Fan Expo, the annual Box Fan Expo, and I'm going to bring this story up because Edgar Berlanga was here all weekend to make a case that he is the next in line to fight Canelo Alvarez. The guy was here on a press, basically working the press. Gets into a little bit of an argument with Caleb Plant. I'm sure y'all saw that. That was pretty interesting. But he's also at the Box Fan Expo, right? And I go with my boy Fonzie, my wife, of course, and Fonzie's friends. We go there to check it out. I'd never been to the Boxing Fan Expo. So right off the bat, I run into Ernesto Amador of No Puede Jugar Boxeo out of ESPN and you know whatnot. It was very nice to see Ernesto Amador. Shout out to him again. I see him and I'm like, well, things might be pretty cool inside. And then I realized, guys, if you've ever been to a car show or whatever, you know what I'm saying, those lowrider things or whatever, or any type of fan expo, basically you pay money to get there. The highlight of the experience was riding the Tesla tunnels. That's right, because they have basically I parked in the lot and then the Teslas take you to the convention center. I get to the convention center and basically there's nothing but lines wrapped around everywhere in every which way direction. Nothing makes sense at all. And you basically got to cough up money at every boxer you would like to say hello to. If there's a boxer you want to meet and greet with and take a picture, that's going to cost you. If you'd like to buy memorabilia from them, that's going to cost you. Everywhere you go, it's just a fucking money grab. So Edgar Berlanga has his little booth set up really close to the entrance, guys. I did some video. I didn't have time to edit it. Mind you, there's vloggers, there's press, The Canelo fight starting at 3 o'clock. And everybody's got a camera in hand, whatnot. Now, you're supposed to pay the boxers to take a picture. You stand in line. But you just can't help the fact that there's vloggers and press everywhere, and they're basically getting video of the event, and there's people taking pictures from afar and whatnot. Maybe you got your wife taking a picture of you from behind the rope as you're meeting your favorite boxer. Edgar Berlanga is the only guy who has the nerve to have security go over the fucking loudspeaker system and say, if you haven't paid to take a picture with Edgar Berlanga, please do not try to take pictures of him from the outskirts. Just Edgar Berlanga. He's the only person who was bothered that people might be videotaping from afar or taking pictures from afar. Nobody else, guys. Not any of the great Mexican champions, Barrera, Morales, Marquez. Not some of the old greater fighters are tripping off what people are doing with their cell phones. But Edgar Berlanga had to get on the loudspeaker and let everybody know, don't fucking take a picture of me unless you pay me. Chicano Prophet, he says he's a tool. Where's Drew Evo? The only person in the entire event that had a problem was Edgar Berlanga, Drew. Now, thanks a lot for joining me, guys. Edgar Berlanga on a public relations tour this weekend in Las Vegas to say, I'm the guy fighting Canelo Alvarez next. And that was my impression of the guy. Drew, he said that he said in an interview this week that he has tons of Mexican fans, and he's excited to see them in Las Vegas as he's gathering support to be the guy to fight Canelo Alvarez in September. And he has the nerve to tell people to fucking take your cell phone and shove it up your ass. If you haven't paid to take a picture with me, don't come near my booth.
Oh, man. Aaron Berlanga, man. He's not getting the fight, Dave. The fight, here's the thing.
He's not getting the fight?
No, the fight's not going to, it won't sell the fight. Nobody's going to pay pay-per-view money to watch Canelo fight a C- level fighter that has no chance in hell, that his own people don't believe in him. Seriously, the fight doesn't sell. It's not a big selling fight. It's a fight that you would have for free on TV and everything. This isn't here's the thing. Canelo cannot have a tune-up on pay-per-view anymore. If you're charging $90, you're not having a tune-up. This is below a tune-up.
It's Mexican Independence Day. We're going to get to the actual fight, the one that matters between Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez. We're going to break that fight down because there was a lot of other fights going on, Drew. Specifically, if you remember, leading up to the week of the fight, Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya exchanged plenty of words amongst each other at the press conferences. Then Ryan Garcia gets busted for peds the same day, actually. And Drew, I don't know if you saw that viral music video that Oscar.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, the one of Oscar in his undies in his brand new home in Henderson. He does have big windows, Drew. I don't know. I don't even know what the song's about, man. I don't know. What do you give to me? Ryan Garcia is releasing another diss track. Yes, Drake and what's his name are going at it, but Ryan Garcia released a new diss track video today too, as well. And then in between this one, Drew, of Oscar in his undies, I don't know what to make of it. What do you have to make to it? Shout out to Sergio Fernandez. Thanks for joining us today. Pretty funny stuff.
Nah, I'll be honest with you. Oscar had took the spotlight away from his fighter in this fight. He did. He took the spotlight from his fighter away. And he should have stayed out of it. He should have just been the promoter, not try to make this all about him and Canelo. Make this about Hyman because this is his moment, and you fucked his moment up. And it's really fucked up. And it's even crazier that Canelo took pity on him because of Oscar. seriously, like he took pity on Jaime Munguia because of Oscar.
All right, let's jump into that, Drew. Let's jump into that for everybody just joining us. It's the Shoe Shine Monday night recap here. Appreciate everybody joining us in this vertical stream. Don't forget to hit that like button. It definitely helps us, guys. Appreciate all you guys in here. Drew, let's talk about that because people are going back and forth, including Terrence Bud Crawford saying Canelo carried Munguia. And I am here to say, first of all, let me get the fishnets off this screen. I'm here to say I kind of agree with Terrence Bud Crawford. I think that if he really wanted to get Jaime Munguia out of there this past Saturday night, he could have absolutely have hurt Jaime at the very end of that fight. Now, for whatever reasons, in my opinion, whether the gas tank isn't there or not, I really think he didn't want to cause any permanent damage, the type of damage that Ryan Garcia did on Devin Haney, even though knowing he probably could, Drew. I think he wanted to leave Jaime Munguia with all his faculties because he likes Jaime. He knows that he's telegraphing he's got 2 years maybe left, 5 fights. Maybe he'd like to retire around 70 fights. And maybe he wants to let Jaime take over the mantle of the best next Mexican fighter out there. Maybe he wants to groom the kid. He definitely didn't want to leave the kid out on a stretcher unconscious on the side of the ring there. That's what I think. I think he did, in a way, big brother, little brother, carry Jaime Munguia this Saturday night.
I think he did too. And to be honest, the fight went the way I thought it was going to go, minus the knockout and everything. And I was saying this in old Chile, right after the fight, Jaime is a pattern fighter, a guy that has to have volume and everything. But the thing with Jaime is he's very predictable with the patterns of punches that he throws and everything. Even if he goes with a double jab, you know what punch is coming next. He was very he was very easy to time.
Well, what was it?
He has the same pattern of punches. You know what punches are throwing in this pattern. He doesn't throw a lot of body punches, and you know what punches are going to throw. And he's easy to counter, and he's really not a fast puncher. So I just looked at it into a lot of things. Jaime is really, if you're going to look at it, Jaime is that B- level fighter at best. I don't think he's an A level fighter. I think he's not a B+ or a B. He's a B- level fighter because he has throws that people can explore and everything. And it did. Tell you the truth, Canelo carried him. Canelo could have finished him. But I think Canelo showed mercy because, hey, this isn't the kid's fault that his promoters made it about him and everything. So he decided, hey, I like the kid. I'm not gonna knock him out. I'm just gonna show the kid mercy in the last round. I'm just gonna box him.
Right.
And win this fight and everything. Like, I already know how I can win the fight. He's and the thing about it is, if you look at it, after that knockdown and everything, in the later rounds, Jaime became a little gun shy and a lot more cautious of throwing punches because he was afraid he thought he was going to get countered, and he was getting countered easily, so he had to be more cautious. And I look at it like this, that after this fight and then comparing the two, like him and Benavidez, they're more the same fighter. But the only difference is Benavidez is a lot faster and he throws body punches. But I think the Canelo-Benavidez fight will end the same way.
Interesting. We'll get to that fight in just a moment. Let me shout out Sin City Syndicate. By the way, Sin City Syndicate, I lost the house this weekend. No, I'm just kidding. I lost $50 on both bets. First of all, I got sucked into the Canelo would knock him out under 10 and a half rounds. I lost $50 on that. And then I had to, with the odds being so good, I had to put $50 down on Jaime Munguia winning by upset, winning decision, which of course that didn't happen either. So I was out $100 this past weekend. Let me give credit, Drew, to Jaime Munguia because he did fight a brilliant Jaime Munguia type game plan that was successful for the first 3 rounds. I literally did give Jaime Munguia the first 3 rounds, and he was beginning to come on strong in that round 4. You guys remember in round 3, Jaime threw it like an 8-9 punch combination that snapped the fucking head back of Canelo Alvarez, and the fight got really exciting then. But it was then when, Drew, in the 4th round, when Canelo said, I've had enough, I'm ready to make my adjustments, I've downloaded enough data. And indeed, he did catch him with that brilliant uppercut as Jaime was unloading his offense. In between punches, nails a perfect uppercut. Go ahead.
I only gave Jaime 2 rounds in this fight.
Ooh, I think Gail from NY Fights also did too.
Like,
Drew, Joe Habib gave him 5. Joe Habib gave him 5.
I thought in the first 3 rounds, I gave him 2 out of the first 3 rounds. I didn't give him the first 3. I gave him 2 out of the first 3. And that was it. Other than that, I think after, in the 4th round, that knockdown that happened and everything, I think it was pure dominance by Canelo after that. It was a dominant performance after that because a lot of those flurries were not landing for Hyman. A lot of those punches weren't landing.
Yeah, Canelo's just a master of head movement, Drew, and rolling the punches off, with taking tons of steam off. I really think Jaime hit him with everything he could and as hard as he could, and he just really couldn't. He couldn't dent Canelo Alvarez's chin. His chin is still fantastic, but let's talk about pound for pound fighters. Canelo Alvarez is absolutely still a top 5 pound for pound fighter in my books. I'm going to ask you, Drew, in a moment, but the story of the weekend is how these 2 pound for pound fighters in Inoue, who fought this morning, if you're on the West Coast, you were up at 4:30 in the morning to watch him. And that's the fact that they made massive adjustments, Drew, and even great fighters, Luis Nery, a former world champion, Jaime Munguia, a former world champion, great fighters, not on the level of Canelo Alvarez, not on the level of Naoya Inoue, the monster, Drew, because those guys, they have more than one gear. They got more than, those guys can switch game plans like that. And that's something that you see here. I put Terrence Bud Crawford, Drew. Terrence Bud Crawford is in the news big time. He's coming up fighting Madrimov, and he had this to say. It was a good fight when he showed his heart, but Canelo looked like he carried him. I saw a lot of opportunities if we fight. And Drew, today it comes out that Saudi Arabia's Turkey, His Excellency, is planning to make this fight happen, planning to throw so much money at Canelo Alvarez that Canelo Alvarez says, I will fight Terrence Bud Crawford. The question is Turkey Al-Akish, is he tripping thinking that Canelo's going to fight him in December or January? Canelo's only fighting twice a year, guys. He don't need to fight 3 times a year.
I think the fight that he needs to concentrate on making is him and Benavidez, not him and Crawford. Why, tell you the truth, why let him go down? Why make him try to get him to fight another guy that's 2 weight classes down? And everything, it just doesn't make it doesn't make sense now. That I think if Canelo's going to fight someone out of his weight class, he might as well just go back and fight someone at 175. He's going to wind up having to go fight someone at 175 because, to tell you the truth, there's not really a lot of guys left for him to fight. There's not really that many names in 168 anymore, and that's the crazy part about it. What is it that he has a Billy Berlanga, Berlanga's nobody wants to see him fight Berlanga.
Okay, all right. Let me read that off, Drew. You make a very great point, Drew, because Canelo Alvarez, in my eyes, can ride off into the sunset without ever fighting David Benavidez unscathed, still remain the undisputed 168-pound champion. And I'm going to give you how he could do that for the next 2 years, guys. Canelo Alvarez, maybe, if he's generous, will fight 3 times a year. He does not need to. He is the face of boxing. He can get in camp for 3 months. He could fight, and then he can take 3 months vacation with his family and begin it all over again. 2 fights per year, Drew. You mentioned who could he fight? Let's go to the 168-pound list. And I'm telling you, if you look at the mandatories, you now have Edgar Berlanga, WBA, mandated to be the number one. Well, he's mandated by the WBA. He just fought Jaime Munguia, who was his mandatory but for the WBC. You have a fighter I have never heard of, Drew, named William Skull. I believe he's a British fighter with the IBF. He could entertain that fight. A complete nobody, unknown guy, reminds me of Yildirim, the guy he fought who was a mandatory, who Canelo asked, let me fight my mandatory. Let me take an easy tune-up fight. William Skull. Diego Pacheco's ranked number 2 by the WBO. That kid is a fringe contender. You're really running out of names, Drew. Then you have Christian Mbili, the Canadian African, who's a beast, a former Olympian who is coming up, going to have a fight, Drew. I think the 2 names left for mandatories is Edgar Berlanga and Christian Mbili. He's going to fight the Puerto Rican in September. We're going to have a Mexico-Puerto Rico showdown, whether we like it or not. And he's going to knock out Berlanga. We need to see Canelo knock somebody out because he's due for one of those kind of fights.
And watch nobody buys that fight.
Well, what if they stack it with a decent undercard?
But here's the thing. You want to know another reason why that fight's not going to happen? Because the PBC does not want to work with Eddie Hearn.
Well, if PBC doesn't want to work with Eddie Hearn this weekend, the broadcast I watched said DAZN all over it. So,
well, to tell you the truth, it was old Golden Boy with them, not Eddie Hearn.
I understand. Yeah, I know Eddie Hearn's his own entity, Matchroom Boxing. It still was a collaborative pay-per-view special. The one I was watching said DAZN all over it, had the DAZN broadcasters. I don't know which way you guys saw the fight, but Edgar Berlanga makes the most sense. It is not a great fight. It is not competitive. It is a fight that I really, truly know how it's going to finish, and it's going to end in a highlight reel for Canelo Alvarez. Berlanga's out here asking to get his ass whooped. He's telling everybody, I'm ready. I'm the mandatory. Mate, give me the money. Give me the money. I want that big Canelo lottery ticket. Well, give him the damn fight, and let's get that one out of the way. Because as you can see here, I just put on the graphic that His Excellency, Turki Al Sheikh, wants him to fight Terrence Bud Crawford in December, January. But I'm going to tell you why that's not going to happen. Because, Drew, you're right, man. He's running out of names. He's running out of names so fast. Terrence Bud Crawford has the potential to clean out the entire 154-pound division in just 2 or 3 fights. He's going to fight for that first belt, Madrimov. And guess who is available to fight this December? Guess who gets cleared? Fundora. Yep, Fundora was there at the fight too, Drew. Fundora was there.
The PBC is going to try to prevent him from fighting Fundora.
Nah, don't stop. Don't stop the good fights, man.
Yeah. Because they want to make sure they keep their champion away from Crawford.
Because Virgil Ortiz and Tim Tszyu don't got shit to offer Terrence Bud Crawford. They don't have any titles. They don't have it. They're probably be way better competitors. Man, would I love to see Terrence Crawford fight Virgil Ortiz and Tim Tszyu. But Fundora has the other 2 belts. He's got 2. In just 2 fights this year, Terrence Crawford can come close to becoming undisputed in yet another weight class. And let's be real, guys, man. There's no way Terrence Crawford is coming up 168 minus 154. Let's do the math. How many freaking pounds is that? There's no way this fight could be competitive with Terrence Crawford jumping up over 20 pounds.
16 pounds.
Come on, nearly 20 pounds, Drew. You got to let your body acclimate and get used to every single weight class. The time for this fight, and I love this fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo, is maybe next year in September. You got to give maybe Mexican Independence Day 2025. Maybe Cinco de Mayo if I'm rushing it, maybe Cinco de Mayo. But you got Canelo still, he's got 2 decent fighters. Edgar Berlanga's, he's a C-class fighter. And Billy might be better, Drew, but get those 2 mandatories out of the way. Then let's talk about Crawford. If Crawford moves up in weight. Yeah.
I think he moves up to 175.
You think who moves up to 175?
I think Canelo will probably move to 175.
Hell no. And fight who? David Morrell? David Benavidez?
I think if you look, depend on the landscape. I think if they will allow him to challenge, I think here's the thing. I don't think Arthur Beterbiev comes back. I think this injury ties him.
All right, great point, Drew. Let's bring that up. Let me get that graphic up. All right, for you guys who don't know, that we've been talking about the 5-on-5 also being brought to you by the Saudis. That headlined the unification for undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Dmitry Bivol, the last guy to beat Canelo on Cinco de Mayo, versus Beterbiev. And Beterbiev, 39 years old, Drew. Y'all know what happened? He tore his meniscus. That's a freaking serious knee injury. At this point, Drew, he's Sergio Martinez. Bro, Sergio Martinez busted up that knee at 40 years old, tried to come back, knew his knee was not the same, and Miguel Cotto beat the shit out of him. And that was pretty much his unofficial retirement, as he's come back to fight in his mid-40s. But, of course, obviously, it ain't going nowhere. I think you're right, Drew. I think this might be the end of Beterbiev. If he does get a fight next year after he's fully recovered, will he even still be the champion, or will he be champion in recess?
No, he'll be champion, I think. I think that they'll do the undisputed fight if he does come back. But if you look at it, this is I don't know. Canelo could potentially go and challenge for the WBO belt.
You saying he can go for the Beterbiev belt? If they put him as champion in recess, Canelo moves up to 175 to fight for a vacant belt against who? Against our WBO ranked bum. Let's look at our Joshua Buatsi is ranked number 1 in the WBO. If I suppose, Drew, you might have a point, man. He could be placed as champion in recess, and Joshua Buatsi and Canelo Alvarez fight for the interim title.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. Once Canelo leaves 168, that division is a shit show.
Straight up, Chicano, Beterbiev will be 40 years old, and that's exactly why I said this reminds me of what happened to Sergio El Maravilla Martinez, 40 years old, busts his kneecap, says it's great. Look, I had surgery. I'm good. Look at me. I can fight again. Fights Miguel Cotto for one last payday because he needed that payday, and he got his ass whooped. That knee was taped up and everything. I don't think Beterbiev, 40 plus coming off that, he gets smoked by a healthy young Bivol. But damn, Drew, there's a possibility now. You got this thought in my head that Canelo could move up next year when Arthur Beterbiev is healthy, and he could challenge him. He could challenge him for that belt.
Thing. I think Demetrius Bivol moves up to cruiserweight.
Interesting. As small as he is, man. I think, hey, I'm excited for guys. David Benavidez and Tank Davis had their press conference Saturday. There was so much going on in Las Vegas. You had the new press conference. David Benavidez is moving up to light heavyweight. Canelo Alvarez dodges a bullet. I don't care if David was in the front row and Canelo called him up. Y'all really think it's serious, man, that he's going to fight David Benavidez? That is a pipe dream. I know everyone out there, including Paulie Malignaggi, are really upset. Drew, you're upset that he's not fighting David Benavidez, but David Benavidez gave up. He said, fuck it. I'm tired of waiting. I'm moving up.
But he did say he'll be willing to move back down to 168 only to fight Canelo Alvarez.
And what is that going to do? All right, he beats Gvozdyk. Alexander Gvozdyk is his opponent in June 15th, I believe, in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. Guys, if you're listening, I heard the pre-sales go on sale tomorrow. And they supposedly are going to start at $179 for nosebleeds at the MGM Grand. So it's time to open up that wallet again.
But Dave, I'm not really sold on him beating Gvozdyk yet. I think Gvozdyk's going to give him a problem.
Whoa.
He's going to give him a lot of problems.
Is this what you're thinking? Is this why? Let's take a look. Everybody David Benavidez fights is shorter than him. And look at this shit.
This guy.
Look at this. Look at this guy's build. This is a guy with the same build, which tells you David Benavidez should be a light heavyweight.
The Benavidez, Dave.
And he also happens to be a member of Eddie Reynoso's team, which is why I think
Oscar is bigger.
How do you guys like this fight so far? I know if some of you may be real hardcore boxing fans. This is the guy that put Superman, what was his name? Superman, the former light heavyweight champ, ended his career. Put a guy in a coma, nearly killed him. Took months and months of rehabilitation for Adonis Superman Stevenson, one of my favorite super middleweight champions, right? At the time, they were both super middleweights. Didn't he he ended his career, left him in a coma, almost killed the guy. That's how dangerous he is. Then he takes like a 2-year break and decides, I'm coming back to boxing. And it's been knockouts ever since, quietly. This is a tough fight, Drew. Straight up. A lot of people, he's old. He's older.
But he has terrific ring IQ and terrific footwork. And like, I might put some money on Gvozdyk in this fight.
If you guys think Gvozdyk has a chance, June 15th, I just said the pre-sales go on sale tomorrow for Tank Davis. And Drew, I got a shout out to Tank Davis and Frank Martin, because Frank Martin, I really don't think has a leg in this race. I heard that he did have some good sparring with him and has hurt him, and Gervonta Tank admitted that they've sparred. But I didn't think I'd be interested in this fight, and they did such a good job at this press conference hyping it up that I think I might want to go to see this fight in person.
You know what? The fight does intrigue me. And I think it is some of a step up for Tank.
Well, it's a huge step up for Frank Martin. By the way, Frank Martin's last opponent, Artunian, something like that, is the guy. I saw that fight in person at the Cosmopolitan. He's fighting Shakur Stevenson. So Frank Martin, the guy that Frank Martin just recently beat, coming off that loss, is getting a crack at Shakur Stevenson. That's pretty damn wild. He is a bronze medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, but these guys are basically recycling each other. I'd like to see Tank fight Shakur Stevenson. I'm getting say. Chicano Prophet says Benavidez opened up as a 5-1 favorite.
See, this is something that I might have to look into.
Now you have to drop at least $20 to make 100 right there. You bet that on Gvozdyk. That's right. Like, guys. I appreciate everybody in here. We're just getting halfway into this. It was a terrific weekend. The Canelo Alvarez undercard, Drew, it had a shout out to, we're rocking my San Jose hat, but shout out to Bob Santos and his son, Team Mario Barrios. They fought the brother of Marcos Maidana, the legend Marcos Maidana. Never seen Marcos Maidana's brother fight, Drew. The guy could only fight in spurts, but he busted up Mario Barrios' face.
But if you look at it, I don't know if you will feel the same way, Dave. You look at like both their faces, and you would think that Barrios was the one losing the fight, right? Because how fucked up his face was, and Madonna's face wasn't really that fucked up,
right?
And everything. Madonna's only won like maybe a round, right? He was only there for a paycheck, but
he only fought in spurts, but he was explosive. And when he did connect, it actually did that damage to his eye. But Mario Barrios comes away with a tough win, one where he clearly was winning and outboxing the guy, but not without some damage. He sustained that, like we said, his eye swelled up completely. A win is a win.
Yeah, I just wasn't really that good of a fight for me.
For the co-main. I want to give a shout out to Jesus Ramos Jr., guys. If you guys don't know, he's on my main page. Jesus Ramos Jr., 154-pound contender, who was the co-main last September for Canelo Alvarez. He lost that close fight to Erickson Lubin. Because the judges did not reward him, he didn't get the Tim Tszyu fight. This kid, Jesus, could be a U.S. superstar right now. He could have been the guy to fight Tim Tszyu. He could have walked away potentially beating Tim Tszyu, but he didn't even get that opportunity, Drew, and he fought at 3 o'clock against the Venezuelan Johan Gonzalez. Boy, man, did Jesus make a statement, man. He came back with some firepower. I don't know if you watched Jesus go back. You can watch that on YouTube, but he looked like Lomachenko in there, Drew. He was doing these side pivots and then attacking with power shots and landing almost 50% of his power shots, eventually breaking down the Venezuelan who had almost all KOs. Bro, he is back on the 154-pound map, put all these people on notice, and it happened at 3 o'clock. Obviously, they're like, well, we don't know. Bro, you need to win. but we can't necessarily put you on the main pay-per-view card because of your performance last time. But hey, he's back, man. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I looked at it, and I thought he got robbed against Lubin. I think Lubin only won like 2 rounds in that fight. But if we look at it, he could be, but I have a feeling that I think he might move to 160 eventually.
Most definitely. And with that division being so weak, but you don't need to rush it. He's not even 25. He's not even Ryan Garcia's age. All in all, if you guys came to Las Vegas this weekend, I'm going to just ask you this. Why didn't you hit your boy Shoe Shine up on IG and let him know if you were here? Why don't you let me know? I'm here, guys. I'm here. I'll buy the first round of drinks. Make sure if you're coming to town and watch the fights, you hit up your boy Shoe Shine.
Remember, guys, he said buy the first drinks.
I said I'd buy the first round. Exactly, man. I'm hospitable, Drew. That's the way you do it. All right. I'm going to ask you real quick, Drew. Jaime Munguia, his stock rose, in my opinion. I didn't think he was going to win. I mean, he had a slim chance of winning. I was thinking, are we finally seeing Canelo get old overnight? We are not seeing Canelo get old overnight. He's still one of the top counter punchers, power punchers, counter punchers, ring IQ. He's throwing 500 punches for a 12-round championship fight, but that's all he needs to throw. I think he cleans out the current 168. With David Morrell gone now to 175, with David Benavidez, man, he's got it easy made. I'm even thinking Beck eventually moves up to one. Like, he's going to drag up guys from 160. He's even going to drag up Terrence Bud Crawford from welterweight. He's going to beat them all.
I don't think Hyman beats them all.
Not Hyman. Canelo.
Oh, Canelo.
Now, as far as Jaime, Drew, where does Jaime go from here?
I'll be honest, man. Like, if we look at it, it's a very unknown place for Hyman because he's not going to be a champion at 168 as long as Canelo's down. And 175, he has no chance.
He's too small, yeah, and his ring IQ, right.
It's not that he's too small. He's not skilled enough.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. The guys at 175 are much more skilled. Like, you mentioned Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol.
To win a championship.
Maybe even Joshua Buatsi beats him. You said Gvozdyk.
I would pick Buatsi to beat Hyman clearly.
And we probably would say David Benavidez would not, if he remained at 168, could potentially stop Jaime Munguia. A big puncher, maybe. David Morrell.
It's just really, it does not look good. Like, yeah, his stock's risen so he can get bigger fights.
Headline his own fights. San Diego.
Yeah, headline his own fights. But here's the thing. Nobody's really going to expect him to beat none of these guys.
What about Caleb Plant?
I don't even think he beats Caleb Plant. And I don't. And the thing is, Billy, I think that's a 50-50 fight that I would probably favor Billy in.
Yeah, and Billy, guys, like we said, he's an African fighter out of Canada, and he's pretty badass. You guys got to go watch his fights. I know he's recently signed to ESPN, so he will be fighting on the ESPN cards coming up soon, and he needs to win in impressive fashion so he can get the attention of Canelo.
But there is 2 guys that I think he can beat. One of them is Evan Berlanga, and the other one is Pacheco.
And a lot of people are talking about if Edgar Berlanga does not fight Canelo Alvarez in September, please put him in there because Jaime Munguia really, I mean, he is a flawed fighter. He's not completely perfect. And we probably would see more fireworks between Berlanga and who you mentioned, Munguia over Berlanga Canelo. For Canelo, I think it's all but certain he's probably going to take the easy way out this September. You know, the writing is on the wall, guys, whether we like it or not. That's what I think we're going to see. Jaime goes on to continue to grow, fight fringe contenders. Some people today on the roundtable, shout out to D-Style and Joe Habib, mentioned that maybe he makes the move back down to 160. There is an opportunity. He'd get a fight with Beck easily.
But here's the thing. I don't think he can make 160.
It is a lot of weight to lose, guys. You guys know once you gain all that muscle, There's a reason why Ryan Garcia didn't even want to drop those 3 pounds. You know why? Because he looks like this, Drew. There's no more weight to lose. Look at these guys.
That's the thing. I think he should have stayed at 160.
You're right.
He should have stayed at 160 before trying to make 160.
But he got his dream. He got the big payday. All right.
Yeah,
he got the big payday. Well, he got it. And let's go to David Benavidez really quickly. Speaking of David Benavidez, Drew, I actually really agree with a lot of what he said on his statement. He said regarding Canelo, you guys know David Benavidez was there Saturday. He says he's not going to fight me, Benavidez added. I think he's just running out of things to say. He's literally said every excuse. He said that I only bring 25 pounds in and I'm not nothing. I'm this and that. I'm not dedicated. I'm not respectful. He says, I think he's scared of him losing and then me taking all his fans. That's what it is. I don't really think he's scared of me. I think he doesn't want me to get the torch passed. Bro, I have to agree with David Benavidez. As much as what Canelo said when he won that fight, and I heard his post-fight interview with Jim Lampley, he kind of gave me goosebumps, man. I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah, Canelo, he's the shot caller. He can do whatever the hell he wants. At the same time, I read that statement from David Benavidez, and I say, David Benavidez is right, man. Would you, as the face of boxing, remember they were ready to say Ryan Garcia is the face of boxing 2 weeks ago. No, Canelo's still the face of boxing. Would you give that up to David Benavidez? Would you even risk that while you know you still want to fight 2 more years? Just the idea of risking that and getting your ass beat by another Mexican or Mexican American, it don't make sense. Well, no wonder he don't want to fight him tomorrow.
I'd look at it. It's just I don't know. It's really like you gotta really look at it like this: that he's running out of options for opponents, and you want to fight 5 more fights and everything. And you want to have them charge $90, you're going to have to fight some marquee names and guys that can bring money to the table. And Berlanga's not one of them. They're going to look at you. They're going to be like this. Really, let's get our 5 sticks. Let's get our StreamEast.com accounts going. We'll watch that. You'll lose money. And you'll probably cause PBC and Amazon Prime deal in the process. Mm-hmm. Everything and call it a fucking day. But you know what? I have to really say this. They zone. I don't know. This is why the hell do we buy the zone? Because every time when they during when the round ends. You don't see them in the fucking corner talking to the trainers talking. You say you got a fucking commercial. And PBC, you see that shit. I'm like, come on now. I don't want to see fucking commercials and everything. I want to see the fucking trainers talking to the fucking fighter and everything. Like, it's stupid. Why do the zone does this all the time? Like, it's just poor quality. You've really disappoint your subscribers a lot every time and a lot more now.
Shout out Chicano Prophet. He says, when the Canelo fight comes along, you just have to take it. I agree 100%, which is why Berlanga's over here. He smells it. He smells the opportunity. The WBA is mandating Canelo to fight him. So he's here. He was in Vegas making a strong argument saying, I'm next in line. I'm next in line for that big payday. He knows he's going to get his ass whooped, but who cares?
He got mad at me. He got mad at me on an Instagram post.
Who did? Berlanga? Just the fact that he paid attention is something special.
Yo, he paid attention to a lot of motherfuckers in there because Morel posted it, Plant posted it, that interactions. I was like this, and I was like this. I'm like, David Morel and Caleb Plant beat Edgar Berlanga easily. And it's not even, and it's tell you the truth, they won't even break a sweat, I said. And then Edgar Berlanga got mad and said something to me.
Well, Drew, as we segue into today's monstrous fight between the monster Inoue and Luis Nery at Tijuana, I wanted to bring this up really quickly because over the weekend, fight weekend, this particular weekend, Drew, I caught wind to the IG Live as Ryan Garcia was getting ready to perform at Zouk nightclub at Resorts World on the Las Vegas Strip. Ryan Garcia had scheduled to perform his new rap song called Blessed. And you know he has another diss track that just came out today against Devin Haney. He got on the phone on IG Live with his boy Jake Paul, Drew. Look at Jake Paul. And Jake Paul was concerned, Drew. And I don't know if you caught it, but I'm going to basically break it down. Jake Paul doesn't believe Ryan Garcia is innocent. He literally said, hey, but Ryan, but you know, if you did it, bro, like it's really, really bad, man. We're not going to be able to be friends. He literally does not believe Ryan Garcia is interested. And Ryan Garcia is like, oh, come on, bro. I will quit boxing. I'll quit boxing if I'm guilty. Even your boy Jake Paul doesn't believe you are steroid free. And I'm starting to scratch my head today, Drew, because I heard that Jake Paul says he's planning on coming in at 220 pounds to fight Mike Tyson on that Netflix special. How does he go from 190 to 220? And you gonna tell me that Jake Paul, who's not being tested, is also like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't throw stones in a glass house. He knows Ryan's juiced up, and well he might be.
A lot of people think Jake Paul's juiced up.
Exactly.
Even Dana White said, often tell him to take a test.
Yeah, I can't believe it. There's no drug testing apparently for the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. That'll be on Netflix. If you guys have Netflix, you should be thrilled because it'll be free. Jake Paul says he plans on coming in as high as 220. I'm scratching my head how you go from 190 to 220. Maybe he weighs 200, walks around, and he's planning on putting on 20 pounds of muscle. Damn, but there's just no way to put on that kind of muscle mass.
But here's the thing.
So quickly.
Has any of Jake Paul's fights been tested? No.
I don't think none of them have, Drew, and that's because he's not even ranked technically as a cruiserweight. Should I go to the cruiserweight rankings right now? And
they said he is ranked as a cruiserweight. WBC has him ranked.
All right, let's see here. Joe Smith is ranked number 10.
Not in the top 10. He's not in the top 10.
So far, I can't. Mike Perez, number 12. Christoph Isaac, 13. 14, a guy named Blake Caparello. 15, Siobhan Clark. So he is not in the top 15 yet. Even though I think I heard something that they we're going to reward him with a ranking. But if he was ranked by the WBC in the top 15, he would be subjected to randomized drug testing under the WBC clean boxing program, which is why, guys, if you're not following the Ryan Garcia steroid scandal, let me break it down to you real quick. Drew and I did 2 shows last week because I was so fucking pissed off about it. Today, Drew, I don't know if you read it. It's official. He officially requested that VADA do test the B sample. The A sample, guys, he failed 2 A samples. It's basically the same urine from the same bottle. They separate it, put one aside and call it the B sample. He requested it to have it tested. That's going to take approximately 10 to 14 days for us to hear if it's to confirm that both A samples are dirty. I expect 99% probability it's the same shit. You failed. A failed test. And then what? And then we go to the hearings. Then we go to the New York State Athletic hearings. Will they suspend him? Will they let him slide? Will they fine him? Will his boxing license be taken away from him for a time being? Will it be a no contest?
Well, here's the thing. What happens by some miracle this comes up that negative?
You're saying it'd be a dream for him. You're saying that the results are contrary to the first results? Somebody tried to tell me that happened in Tyson Fury's case, but in Tyson Fury's case, he was still suspended. It's like a 99% probability that it's going to be the exact same result, which shout out to Patty 905. We welcome everybody, even if if you believe Ryan is innocent, we welcome everybody up in here. So what's going to happen then, Drew, is that he's going to have to, like he said, he's going to pay people on his side to bring forth all his supplements, all his vitamins that he says that you could buy over the shelf. He's got to hand them over. They got to see if any of that stuff has these banned substances, which they probably will have some contamination. And then he has to argue it was unintentional. And that's how they decide how long they suspend you. But here's a loophole that nobody is willing to talk about, Drew. And it's a loophole that I researched in Olympic sprinting. And also in the case of the UFC. The UFC has had tons of positive Ostarine testing going on with their fighters. So much so that supplements, tainted supplements in the UFC, Drew, that they decided to get rid of USADA, anti-doping agency, and create their own doping test company in-house. It started this year in January, Drew. The list is available for all fighters, it's for all athletes that test by WADA, WADA, Drew. I can go and get that list, Drew. And guess what else I could do? I can go buy that bottle of contaminated product. Yep, I'll go right now and buy myself some contaminated product. And then I can take those drugs, nandrolone, which is an anabolic agent, and I could take that Ostarine. I take all the amount of Ostarine I want. And when I finally get caught, Drew, you know what I do? I say, oh shit, what is it, this bottle? Could it have been this bottle? Well, here it is. I don't know. You guys test it. Bro, it's available publicly. The list of contaminated Ostarine bottles is available publicly. Do like 5 minutes of digging and you too can come up with a bottle, and then you can go on Amazon or you can go to GNC and look for it, or whatever bodybuilding store you look for it, and buy yourself one of these little tainted supplements. And when they come knocking on your door that you failed your drug test, well, you just, hey, here it is. Here it is. Because Drew, the test that VADA does is what they say, qualitative, not quantitative. It's either yes or no. You're either pregnant or you're not. They're not testing for how much of that shit you got in your system. You either have it or you don't, which is why Ryan Garcia is guilty. It was in his system fight night.
I look at it like this. You know, I'm not a big fan of VADA. I think VADA is not a good system. I think that they need to go to an Olympic style drug testing. And I think they need to be tested a couple of days before the fight, so the results can be there before the fight and everything, decide whether or not they fight or not. Because us finding out, there is no excuse that we are finding out 2 weeks after the fight that he's tested positive.
If you guys are interested in this story a little bit more about nandrolone, which is also known as DECA, which is a bodybuilding supplement, guys, the one that Ryan Garcia is also not accused, but also came up positive for. There's a great story online on YouTube, right here on YouTube, guys, called the DECA, DECA burrito scandal. Drew, there was an Olympic female runner that claimed she was on DECA because of a burrito. Yep, she said that the burrito had the DECA in it. It had the steroids in it. My burrito from the fucking taqueria had what kind of reminds me of the Canelo Alvarez tacos, you know, clenbuterol and the tacos and whatnot. But she said, hey, I don't know how I got in my system. It must have been that burrito. Blaming Mexican street vendors. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
She wasn't Mexican, guys, but she blamed the burrito. All right, let's get into some fun shit. Let's get into today's fight. I'm surprised I'm awake. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I didn't go to sleep. I'm not even going to, why am I lying? I didn't go to sleep. I stayed up all night like a crackhead to watch this Japanese fight, Drew. And I was telling you that Maloney, which is a guy I really like, he got upset by a fighter named Takei. This guy Takei fought brilliantly. He's a former kickboxing, former K1 champ or something who converted into boxing. Bro, he boxed beautifully against Maloney. Then Maloney gave us like Honestly, guys, go watch the highlight. Maloney versus Takei, 118-pound bantamweight championship. Maloney came back in the 12th round and fought his ass off. Drew, it's like could be a round of the year type round. He really tried to win and knock out Takei, but it was too little too late. That was the co-main event. And then we get into Luis Nery from Tijuana fighting, allowed to come back to Japan, Drew. That's the crazy shit. Luis Nery was banned from fighting in Japan. I believe, who was it? He beat a Nakatani, I think, twice. And in the first one, he tested positive, or the rematch, he tested positive for banned substances. He himself is a known cheater, accused. They let him back in this country, and for one reason and one reason only, in my opinion, is to get payback and to have the monster whoop his ass. And wow, in round one, if you guys didn't miss it, Drew, the monster, for the first time in his life, tasted the canvas, and it was a beautiful left hook, a la Ryan Garcia style, bro. He dropped the Japanese fighter, and I said, holy shit, is this the end of the reign of the monster? Did you catch that?
I think it was just a flash knockdown.
Mm-hmm.
He got one up from it, and it kind of got pissed him off. And like, here's the thing. I said, if this fight, if he was going to win this fight, he would have to go for broke right away and go for a knockout. Surprise Inoue. But he slowed down after that knockdown. He just slowed down. You put to Inoue's pace. Let him pick you off.
Yeah,
I said it was going to end at 5. It ended at 6.
You sure did. Actually, you would have won money for calling that one. All right, guys. So in round one, a very overly aggressive Inoue, the Japanese champion, undisputed champion. So I saw him. Did he miss this shot? And he countered with this beautiful left hook. At that moment, his feet of the Japanese fighter were both kind of off the ground, Drew, which is why that check left hook had so much damage. But it was a flash knockdown. He wasn't really, really hurt. It wasn't those kind of knockdowns. It was more of like his feet were off the ground and there was nothing he can do. He lost his balance and he was tasting the canvas on that. It looks worse than it really was. But most of you guys will agree. Shout out to Wile Coyote. He was pissed, man. When you see fighters like that, those the type of fighter, you hurt me, now I'm going to hurt you even harder. I love that shit.
Yeah, like I just looked at it. I'm like, dude, you just gotta stay going for broke, man. And like apparently he went to Inoue's pace. Unfortunately, man, it's just crazy.
So the fight didn't last the entire. It was actually ended with, like you said, Drew. Nery gets knocked down in the very next round, round 2, and from there it was just a masterclass performance, man. Inoue takes over. He is a master of distance. He takes a step back and he counters you with insane combinations, which is what we saw brilliance out of Canelo Alvarez this weekend, is the ability to let you make mistakes and take a step back and then throw incredible combinations. Both of these guys, I really can't decide whose combinations were my favorite this weekend. Canelo threw some incredible combinations in defense that Jaime Munguia just didn't see coming, and he kept eating those body shots that slowed him down. And this fight, after he made that mistake of getting knocked down, it was all punishment time, Drew. It was punishment time, and he was gauging everything, all the mistakes that Nery was making. Nery was throwing wide looping shots, getting slower after the first knockdown, and only a matter of time. If you guys watch this knockdown, he throws the uppercut followed by a right hand to finish him in the corner, Drew. It was brilliant violence.
Yeah, like I just, it's just a guy that comes off and makes adjustments out of nowhere in a flash is a guy that's unbeatable. And it's anyways like that. Like, so to be honest, we don't know what's this guy's ceiling when it comes to weight class. But eventually, we're going to be seeing him in big super fights.
Yeah, great point, Drew. Obviously, he's almost cleaned out. He's the undisputed champion, right? He already beat your guy Stephen Fulton out of Philadelphia, brought him all the way to Japan. Stephen Fulton, an amazing fighter. I think there's a guy named MJ who's a really great fighter that I wouldn't mind seeing him. I think Sam Goodman of Australia is going to get the nod as he's an Australian that looks pretty good and fun. But I mean, these guys are just, I don't care how good you are. Inoue is on a different level. He's pound for pound. We're arguing today, is Inoue better than Terrence Crawford? Paulie Malignaggi said, nah, I've never seen Terrence Crawford get knocked down. So Terrence Crawford is still number one. What about Canelo? Where does Canelo sit in your pound for pound, Drew? Let's hear Drew's pound for pound top 5 right now, because we had 2 of the best fighters in the sport of boxing fight back to back this weekend, Drew. Let me just hear. Don't even think about it. Just give me your top 5 pound for pound.
I'm picking Crawford, number 1. Number 2, Usyk. Number 3, Inoue. Number 4, I will possibly, to be honest, I probably will go Demetrius Bivol.
Interesting.
Number 5, I will probably go with.
Oh shoot! If he's not on that number 5, man, they're gonna say you a hater.
I will probably go with Canelo at number 5, but
Drew's no hater. Drew ain't no hater.
But 6, I will really. It's really hard to pick because you can also. But Beterbiev would be 6.
I don't even have. I don't have him on my list.
7 would be Fury. 8. I will. You know what? I will actually put Teofimo at 8.
That's very nice of you because he has done a lot. How about Tank Davis?
Tank's not on my pound for pound list. And
be some mad people.
Yeah, 9. It's really. 9. Number 9. You know what? Number 9 it's just hard right now to pick fighters. But here's the thing. I will probably pick. You know what? I'll pick. As of right now, I will pick Bam Rodriguez as 9. And 10, I'll go Devin Haney.
Yeah, but he might have that loss overturned. Even then, he did.
But
some pretty good stuff.
He cannot defend against a simple left hook.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have Haney on my top 10 anymore. Just really quickly, guys, I still think I do like Inoue a lot. I have Inoue as my number 1, even with that knockdown because of the frequency of his fights. And I think there's a strong argument that fighters that fight 3 to 4 times a year, they're going to have higher credence on my list. Terrence Crawford is number 2. Terrence Crawford is a once-in-a-generation type fighter. And really, we're going to argue later on when they both retire who was better during that era. Was it Terrence Crawford or Canelo? And to be honest, they still have a lot left to go. They might even fight each other. I got Terrence at number 2. I got Usyk, who is 1 win shy of becoming undisputed in 2 weight classes, becoming undisputed heavyweight champ in just a couple weeks. Usyk is definitely my number 3. Then I have Dimitri Bivol, the guy that beat Canelo Alvarez, the guy who beat the face of boxing, has to be in front of the face of boxing. Dimitri Bivol comes in at number 4, which Drew and I agree on because I got Canelo at number 5, and that's really all. That's really all we should care about. Drew, there is some interesting news coming up. Obviously, this weekend we have Lomachenko versus George Kambosos, the guy that beat Teofimo Lopez in a fluke. I'm going to ask you for your prediction on that just momentarily, but as we get ready to wrap up this show, guys, Floyd Mayweather is back from Dubai. They said he was kidnapped. They said he was held hostage. They said he owed money to some shady people. We don't know why he was stuck in Dubai. He's back, Drew. He was back. And
Diddy had him kidnapped.
He is back. And look at this. He wants to let everybody know that he has a big announcement coming up on May 15th. Stay tuned. But he's giving you all the clues, guys. Look at that Mexico City right there. The one and only Big Bola Casinos, wherever that is. But it sure does look like Mexico City. Stay tuned for the upcoming fight. #Mayweather Mexico. Who is he going to fight? Is he going to come back to pro boxing, Drew? Who in the world? I'm glued to the announcement, Drew. I'm so interested. What is Floyd? Is it an exhibition?
I could care less.
He needs that money, dude. He apparently owes money. What if he fights somebody he's beefing with?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd care less though.
How about what if he fights Oscar De La Hoya? You might be interested in that.
I don't know. I could care less.
All right, Drew doesn't care less. This weekend, guys, obviously, we do have a really interesting fight. It's the possibility that one of Drew's favorite fighters, Lomachenko, comes back. Lomachenko is going to be fighting George Kambosos in Australia. Why is Lomachenko going all the way to the land down under? Why is he going to go down to Kambosos' backyard? Why does Kambosos have so much pull? I heard Perth, Australia is beautiful. Jamel Herring is on the card, Drew. Does Kambosos get stopped? Does Lomachenko go the distance? Does anybody think that Kambosos, the guy that beat Teofimo Lopez on a fluke, has a chance to beat the great Lomachenko?
No, he doesn't. And I think Loma stops Kambosos. I think this is a more determined Loma. He realizes this is his chance for undisputed is alive again. And I think he's going to make a statement and stop Kambosos.
That's very interesting, Drew. You and Joe Habib, shout out to the Ringside Reporter Live. He said that it pays almost 5 times. That's the prop bet to make this weekend. Kambosos gets knocked out or stopped. Or in his words, I think he said they throw in the towel because they just are taking too much ass whooping from Lomachenko. Very interesting. I'm going to check the odds on that because I think you're right. I wasn't picking him to win by KO. Well, he could do enough damage to Kambosos where he's like, Kambosos is just like, I'm losing on all the scorecards. Why keep going?
He's tailor-made for Loma. And like, Kambosos is tailor-made for Lomachenko. And like, he's not like good movement-wise and everything. I really think Loma's going to get angles on him and be able to. If you look at it like this, I'm looking for a round 8 stoppage.
Interesting. Interesting. There you have it. Drew, one of his favorite fighters, Lomachenko. That's for the vacant IBF title. The WBO title is vacated. That's going to be Darren Sparenchek. If you're in San Diego, shout out to Dan619. Navarrete from Mexico will actually be going up for that vacant WBO belt. That leaves Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Tank Davis, Lomachenko, all fantastic. The idea of those guys fighting. And Navarrete, he's going to have a tough fight against this Darren Sparenchek. He's ranked number 1. But those 4 champions, wow, man. I can't imagine one of those guys breaking apart from the pack and dominating. I'd like to see all 4 of those guys fight each other, really. All of them bring something unique. If you had to pick one of those guys to clean out the division of those champions, Drew, Stevenson, Davis, Lomachenko, Navarrete.
I don't pick Loma to do it. I don't think Sakura can beat Loma. I don't think Tank will fight Loma, but I think Loma beats Tank. And Navarrete, I think Loma beats Navarrete.
That is a bold statement, man. That's a bold statement. Lomachenko wipes them all. I know this shit will never happen. Shakur can't even get a fight with Tank Davis, man, as much as he's doing. And Tank Davis, if y'all see what happened in Las Vegas this weekend, Tank Davis was harassing Devin Haney at the nightclubs. Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia is performing his rap music at Zouk nightclub. It's a young man's world out there, man. I live in Las Vegas. I don't see half the cool shit happening. It just happens all around me. It's the fight capital of the world. Thank you, everybody, tonight for joining us on the vertical stream. Thank you for all the help from all the lovely supporters. I appreciate everybody that comes in here. Drew took off. I think so. So I'll be signing off for Drew. Drew, your final words on this amazing boxing weekend?
Canelo's words, Viva Mexico, cabrones.
He said it best, man. Appreciate you guys all coming. Man, my takeaway, there's the Canelo Alvarez era. You know, years back, Drew, he had made his merchandise that said it was my era, la era de Canelo. Obviously, it's not over. And Ryan Garcia is going to have to sit his pretty ass and wait till his hearings are over because you ain't taking over the face of boxing. Whether you posed shirtless with Canelo over the weekend or not, you're not ready to take over the sport, man. It's still Canelo's world. And who knows if he'll ever fight David Benavidez. For now, David Benavidez has a hell of a test in front of him. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, I'm hearing. So check the MGM website if you want to go see David Benavidez and Tank Davis midweek June. I appreciate everybody. I'm Dave in the 702 Philly Irish Drevo. Drew, will we be back this week for another show?
Maybe.
Yeah, come on, maybe. Thanks to all the new subscribers. We'll definitely be back, even if I come on alone. I'll get Drew back in here. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later. Peace out, everybody.